Welcome to today's episode of the Mindset Mentor Podcast. I am your host, Rob Dial, and if you have not yet done so, hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about how to design your perfect environment, how to design your life for success. And so I'm going to be talking about two separate things. I'm going to be talking about your internal environment, and I'm also going to be talking about your external environment. Now, I realize when most people think about designing your life for success, designing your environment, most people are going to think about the external environment. But we're going to be talking about both of them. So the first one I want to dive into is the one that you probably didn't think of, which is your internal environment. Okay, and there's many aspects to the internal environment that I want to talk about. But if we're trying to get to a place of success, we got to think about the vehicle that we're taking there, the body. So we have the body, but then we also have the environment of everything else in the external world. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is the body, right? We're going to talk about the mindset behind everything. So if we're talking about the internal environment, first off is the mindset. And the first thing that pops into my head is the way that you talk to yourself. You know, would you say that if you're trying to design your perfect life, that the way that you talk to yourself is conducive to get you to where you want to go? So what kind of conversations are you having with yourself? Are you having conversations like, you're stupid, you're fat, you never do anything right, why do you always screw up relationships, why do you do this, you'll never get to where you want to go? Or do you have conversations with yourself like, hey, you know, I know you can do it. Hey, you failed, but you're going to get back up. You're going to keep going. Hey, I know that you can. I know that you're smart enough. I know that you're pretty enough. I know that you have a good enough body. I know that whatever it is, I know that you're going to improve. I know you're going to work at your body more. I know that you're going to work at getting better with your diet and pushing yourself and with your mindset and all of that stuff. What type of things are you actually saying to yourself inside of your head? And the question I always ask people is, would you talk to somebody that you love the way that you talk to yourself? And that one is usually the one question that makes people realize that they have an issue, if they have an issue, that they do, with the way they talk to themselves. So under mindset, you got to think about the way that you talk to yourself. Also under mindset, let's think about what you're reading. How often are you reading? Do you know that you should read more? Should you read different things? Should you not read Facebook statuses and Instagram posts? And should you start reading more books? How many books did you read last year? How many books do you want to read this year? What are you going to do to make sure that you stay on track with reading whatever it is, a book a month, 12 books over the course of the year? What are you reading? What are you feeding your mind? The way that you're talking to yourself is feeding your mind. But what are you also putting into your mind? What are you reading? What are you watching? Do you spend majority of your time watching reality TV? Housewives or whatever the hell next to the place they are, you know, Real Housewives of whatever, all of the places that there are now. What are you watching? Are you watching motivational stuff? Are you going onto YouTube and typing in motivational? Are you watching motivational movies? Are you watching movies where they're constantly shooting each other up and killing each other? Or they're talking bad to each other? Or they're treating each other bad? Or they're beating each other up? Also into that, do you play video games that's just all killing? Do you play video games where it's just blood and guts and all of that? You have to think about these things because every single bit of information that goes into your brain brainwashes you in some sort of way. Is your mindset, the way you talk to yourself, what you're reading, what you're watching, conducive to get you from where you are right now to where you want to go? Okay, next thing, what are you listening to? What type of music are you listening to? This is big for me because I didn't realize, you know, I listen to all types of music and then I thought, oh my God, some of the music I listen to actually doesn't say good stuff about people. Some of these rap songs actually say some pretty crappy stuff. You know, so I can go and I can listen to motivational podcasts and I can listen to, you know, go to conferences, but then I'm listening to this music and I'm like, wait, that's not the way that people should be treating each other. And you start thinking, what are you listening to? Are you listening to, you know, music where they're talking about treating each other like trash or shooting each other up or drugs or hookers or sex and, you know, treating women badly? What is it that you're listening to? I feel like an old person talking about this because I'm like, you know, all of this music that you're listening to is bad for you. But it's really something that you need to consider because saying something out loud in a musical sense is basically an affirmation out loud, but with a little bit of a tune. So you're affirming out loud the world that you want. Are you listening to the music and singing the music out loud that is affirming the reality that you want? What are you listening to? Are you listening to that type of music? Are you listening to positive music? Are you listening to podcasts? Are you turning on the YouTube whenever when I make breakfast, I like to turn on YouTube and listen to whatever's on there. I like to listen to Ram Dass. I like to listen to Alan Watts. I like to listen to Wayne Dyer. I like to listen to Tony Robbins. I like to listen to Gary Vee. I listen to all these different people whenever I'm sitting there and making my breakfast in the morning versus just listening to music, right? So what are you listening to? Who do you follow on Instagram? Are you following people that are just reality TV shows, getting into fights, beating each other up, treating each other like trash? Who do you follow on Instagram? Are you following people on Instagram that make you feel worse about yourself or make you feel better about yourself? Think about these things. So you have your internal environment, your mindset, the way you talk to yourself, what books you're reading, what else you're reading, magazines that you might be reading. What are you watching? What games are you playing? What are you listening to? Who do you follow on Instagram? What type of podcasts do you listen to? What books are you into? So that's the next thing, or that's the first thing. The next thing is what are you feeding your body in your internal environment? What are you feeding your body? What type of food? Is it a lot of meat? It's really heavy. Is it greasy? Is it a lot of dairy? Is it a lot of cheese? Is it a lot of gluten? What are you putting into your body? Do you drink a good amount of alcohol? What I like to call alcohol is just flavored poison. And I was in the car not too long ago, and I always thought that people, I guess I kind of look at the world differently, but I was in the car with my girlfriend and we were driving down in Austin and it was a Friday night. People were going out and they're about to go party. And, I've done quite a bit of my fair share of partying. I've drank way more alcohol than, the average human should. I've gone down that road before. And I came to the realization that how weird it would be if an alien landed on Earth and they were here, they were invisible, and they just watched what we did. And they noticed that every few days and every single time that humans got together to make it less awkward or whatever it is that might be, they get together and they drink flavored poison. Because that's all alcohol is. It's flavored poison. It really is. Because if you drink too much of it, guess what happens? You die. Therefore, it's poison. You're just drinking it in a low level. And so you have to think about that. The alcohol, I'm not saying you have to completely give up drinking, but maybe be more mindful of the fact that when you drink alcohol, it stays in your body up to 80 hours. That's over 3 days. It stays in your body. So you're having residual slowdown of your mind in your body 3 days after you're drinking this alcohol. Something to think about. What about cigarettes? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you vape? Do you drink a lot of soda? Do you drink a lot of water? What are you feeding yourself? So you got to think about the internal environment, the mindset behind it, but then also the food that you're eating, the stuff that you're drinking. Hey, do you remember the last time that you had a really bad customer service experience when you called a company? I bet you do. I bet you remember, and I bet you actually don't enjoy that company anymore. You actually probably think bad about them. Well, you have to realize sometimes you call a company and each person you have to explain your issue to every single time. And if you're like me, you don't have time to waste on the phone, and neither do your customer service or your salespeople because of bad phone systems. They end up wasting 2 to 3 minutes on every single call, and that adds up over time. And think about how many prospects your salespeople could reach if their phone system logged every single call in the notes and then dialed the calls for them. Well, AirCall is a 100% cloud-based phone system that's helped thousands of salespeople and support teams stop wasting time on the phone. And this is all automated, so it'll save your team time on each call, and those minutes add up. I promise you that. So if you're interested in taking a look at it, you can set up a no-risk 7-day trial of AirCall in less than 3 minutes. No credit card is needed to try it. All you have to do is go to aircall.io/dial, DIAL, for your 7-day free trial of AirCall to make your team's phone systems as efficient as possible. All right, let's get you back to the show right now. The alcohol, the cigarettes, the grease, the gluten, the dairy. And just so you know, I am in no sort of way any perfect human, but I'll just tell you, because a lot of people are going to be curious, what my diet looks like and kind of the stuff that I like to have. I don't have any gluten at all. And there's a lot of reasons behind it. I could do multiple entire episodes on the whole thing. I don't have any gluten. I don't have any dairy. I have very, very little meat. I don't drink any sodas. I drink a ton of water. I have no alcohol and very little wine. I'm in the middle of the Ironman 60, so literally no alcohol, no wine, none of that stuff at this point. So it's a lot of water. It's a lot of, I don't eat anything that didn't used to be alive. I'll put it that way. So very little meat, but then greens, There's all the different types of greens, there's beans, there's everything that you could think of. If you want to Google on how to be a vegan or vegetarian, you can go and check that out. But that's kind of what mine looks like. If it wasn't alive at some point in time, I don't eat it. And I try to eat very, very little animal products, and then no gluten and no dairy as well. So that's kind of what mine looks like, because I have this body that I want to run as efficiently as I possibly can, because I know what my life's mission is. And if my body and my mind are not running at optimal levels, then I'm not going to be able to achieve the greatness that I know that I can. So that's the way that I think about my internal environment. If you want to perform at a high level, your body needs to be running at a high level. If you don't have great energy levels, well, maybe you should start thinking about what you're putting into your body. Your body's like a Ferrari. Ferrari needs to have the highest quality gas that you could put in it. But if you're putting crappy food inside of your body, and you're not talking to yourself the right way, and you're not reading the right things, and you're not paying attention to what you watch, what you listen to, and you're watching too much reality TV, and you're drinking too much alcohol, and you're smoking too much, it's like having a Ferrari and then putting diesel in the tank. It's not going to run near as efficient as it possibly could. So you have to think about those types of things. You're not going to achieve the greatness that you can if your body and your mind cannot get you there. It's your vehicle. So that's your internal environment. Let's talk about your external environment. Right? So what does your home look like? You don't have to be the cleanest person in the world, but there's some organization to it? Is there crap all over the place? What does your car look like? What does your work environment look like? What about the people that you surround yourself with? Are they negative? Do they talk down to you? Whenever you have goals and you tell them your goals, do they bash your goals and tell you that you can't do that and it's impossible, and no one from this part of town's ever done anything like that before? And if you look at your whole full family, they've never done anything, so there's a reason why you can't do this, because they've never done it. And are they talking down to you whenever you share your dreams? Surrounding yourself with negative people is like having that Ferrari and then trying to drive it in the mud. They're slowing you down. The internal could be good. You could be working on your mindset. You could be trying to grow. You could be working on your body. You could be going to the gym. You could be doing everything that you need to. And you're working on that Ferrari. And that Ferrari, you put in the right gas, all of that. But then you're not paying attention to your external environment, the people that you surround yourself with, the way that you're taking care of your house and your car and your work. You're not paying attention to the external environment. So you're basically driving your Ferrari in mud and wondering why it won't go 200 miles an hour like it's supposed to. Well, because you're not paying attention to the external environment. Look at your house, your car, your work, all of the environment that you surround yourself with. Is it set up for your success? Is it set up to help you be successful? What I mean by that is being very intentional with your goals. For instance, I'll give you an idea of having a goal and how your external environment can help that. Let's say that you want to wake up early in the morning and you want to go directly to the gym. How can you make it as easy as possible for that to happen? How can you set up your external environment for that to happen? Well, number one, you can take your phone and you can put it across the room so that when it goes off, you have to get up out of the bed to turn it off. And right next to your phone, you could have your gym clothes folded, ready to go. You got your t-shirt, you got your shorts, you got your underwear, you got your socks, you got your shoes. All you got to do, you don't even have to think. You don't have to go into the closet, figure out what it is that you need to do. You can just go straight to your stuff, turn your phone off, and immediately put your clothes on. Hell, and if you want to make it even easier, wear your gym clothes to bed. So all you have to do is literally get up, turn your alarm off, go to the bathroom, chug some water, walk out the door. How can you make your external environment support your success, your road to success? Is your external environment set up to help you be successful? If you have negative people that are around you in this external environment, you don't have to get rid of them. A lot of people say, well, my mom's really negative. My brother's really negative. My father is. I can't get rid of them. You don't have to get rid of anybody, but you can spend less time with somebody. If they call, you can say, hey, I'm busy. Can I, send me a text. What's going on? And if you're spending less time with some of these people and you're changing your external environment, you can now replace them with people that you want to hang out with. So what does the perfect friend look like? What is the perfect person that's going to be your mentor, that'll support you, that'll say, hey, what are your goals? Your goals are this? That's amazing. Can I hold you accountable to them? Can I push you to them? Can I follow up? Hey, how about we have a meeting every single Monday at a coffee shop at 8 a.m. and we go over our goals. We go over how the last week was. How much easier would it be if you had somebody like that trying to help you be successful? So when you're looking at your internal and external environment, you look at your goals, because people are like, okay, it's 2020. I know my goals. I want to go off and I want to do this for the year. And I want to have this big year and I want to be successful and I want to have a great year. But then you realize that your internal environment, your external environment are not supporting your road to success. So how can you be and here's the key word, how can you be as intentional as possible in planning out all areas of your life to help you be more successful? If you're trying to get the best body that you possibly can, but you have a problem with eating too much sugar, me, right? If I have a little bit of sugar, it's like crack. My brain turns on. I'm like, oh my God, I want to have all of it. But if I don't have any of it, I'm not really like a crackhead for it. So if I don't have any sugar inside of the house, any Skittles or any of those types of things, then I'm not really craving it and I'm not going to go off the deep end. And so I'm trying to have my internal and external environment support my road to success. And so that's what I want you to think about. Take your pen and paper out and write down, what does my internal environment look like? How do I talk to myself? What am I reading? What am I watching? What am I listening to? Am I watching reality TV? Who am I following on Instagram? Am I listening to the right podcasts, reading the right books? What am I feeding my body? And what about alcohol? What about food? What about meat, grease, gluten, dairy? Am I smoking cigarettes? Am I drinking too much soda? Am I not drinking enough water? You start thinking about those things. You think about your external environment. How can I set up my home, my car, my work to set myself up for success? How can I get rid of the negative people and spend less time with them? How can I get the people that are going to support me on my road to success and help me along the way and bring them into my life and help them mentor me and help them hold me accountable to my goals? That is what living your life with intention looks like. So get out a pen and paper and start planning it out and think, these are my goals for the year. How can I have my internal and external environment support that? So that's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please share it with someone that you know and love. I have absolutely loved you guys sharing these on Instagram. So once again, over the past couple of days, we've had a couple hundred people that have shared this podcast on Instagram. They've taken screenshots, they've put it on their Instagram stories and then tagged me in it. If you want to tag me in it, it's Rob Dial Jr., ROBDIAL JR. So Rob Dial Jr. And some people have taken videos of them making their bed, of them working out, of them going for a morning jog, of them in their car, and they're listening to the podcast. And it's been amazing because we've seen a spike in listens because you guys are making your friends more aware of what you're doing through your Instagram stories. So if you love this and you want to, pay it back, pay it forward, whatever you want to call it, I would appreciate if you would start, posting this in your Instagram stories when you're listening to it, wherever you might be, screenshots if you're listening to it, whatever it is, and just tag me, Rob Dial Jr. in it as well. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And today, I'm going to leave the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make someone else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.